Even though the influence of the class councils was not long-lived, the concept of a governing council remained a fixture in student self-governance. Student councils by the first quarter of the 1900s had evolved from class councils of the late 1800s and early 1900s into the student councils. Therefore, representatives elected to this council presided over the student assemblies and the student bodies as a whole. The evolution to a more representative role of the student governing body highlights the transformation from class-oriented councils to college-wide councils. The student council was not the only agent for the student body to voice their agenda to the institution and administration, but was also a way for peers to be able to talk to others. By the middle of the 20th century, self-governance organizations and college and university campuses evolved into its current form, the student associations. Student associations are similar to that of national systems of governance, with executive, judicial, and legislative branches. The evolution to the student association allowed for broadening of representation, oversight, and management of the student body and its affairs. Generally, the responsibility of student associations includes serving as the voice of the student body to the institution administration and overseeing student fees, supervising student organizations, and running campus programming. These bodies are also currently participate in decision-making processes in the student affairs and academic and administrative affairs. The executive branch typically consists of a president and other administrative officers elected by the student body. The role of the group of officers is management and oversight of the student association in its entirety. The primary figure within the executive branch is the president, and the role of the president in the student body evolved along with the rise of student self-governance. In the early years, the self-governance during the 1700s and the 1800s, the role of the student body president was mostly ceremonial and had very little, if any, authority. Typically, the student assembly or student council was led by the president of the senior class, which was also the ex officio president of the student body. However, as the organizations evolved, so did the roles and responsibilities of the chief student officer. With increasing responsibility and importance of student governments in the early and mid-1900s, the role of president became more critical. Between 1920 and 1950, the position of president of the student body evolved from that of the senior class president to campus-wide elected positions that represented the entire student body. This position held a greater role and responsibility for institutions-wide decisions made through the processes. This evolution at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill by writing, "Now the student president is the sole person to whom the students or the administration may look for immediate responsibility." Coming in fall of 2011, our campus is changing the name of our governing student body from ASG, Associated Student Government, to Undergraduate Student Government to more clearly reflect the population it is serving. Now we're going to discuss the shaping of student activities and leadership development in higher education. Arising from 6 schools seeking to lower entertainment expenses, the association, now known as NACA, the National Association for College Activities, has evolved during the first 50 years into a national organization that links entertainment and education while advancing campus activities in higher education. The evolution of NACA has been influenced by an increasing complexity of functions of the campus activities profession, as well as through the influence of a change in society. A functional area that once embraced only entertainment and programming has developed into a profession with responsibility to addressing leadership education, enrollment management, life skills development, changing demographics, technology, social issues, and service learning. While it may be argued that NACA is a leader in the development of the campus activities field, it is also true that the association's mission and services have changed in the response to the needs of the profession, and the profession is driving the association, not the other way around. As Farr noted, NACA was founded on the concept of block booking, a practice in which 2 or more schools that were in the same demographic area agreed to book the same entertainment within a certain set amount of time. That way, it allowed the entertainer to enjoy sequential routing while on tour. The entertainer, in turn, would lower their costs and pass on that lowering of fees to the colleges and universities in which they were performing at. It's simple and a practice concept that became the cornerstone of the National Association for Campus Activities in 1960. The year the year the association began to live as a cooperative booking project in North Carolina. To ensure the half a century that NACA has involved in leading campus activities, the organization, with more than 1,000 schools and more than 550 associate members that they represent, which are talent agents, such as middle agents or booking agents. From 1961 to 1967, the block booking organization was centered mainly in a few southeastern states and was comprised of a very small number of schools and talent agencies that banded together to hold a few preliminary conferences. In 1965, colleges and university member agencies and performers such as Simon and Garfunkel appeared on a talent showcase before they became a national mainstream attraction. That means that they actually performed at college and universities before they became the Simon and Garfunkel that we know today. Many other mainstream artists also performed on the college circuit before becoming widely known within the United States. Word spread quickly that what these schools and agencies were doing, and other schools asked to be a part of this block booking schedule so they could spread the programming dollars from their school. Soon it was apparent that all involved wanted more structure and that it was needed. So it was apparent to involve additional agencies and colleges into this process. Unknown to the acts, to grow the college market and students increased the demand of the voice of how the business was conducted. In fact, in 1968 Block Booking Conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, students in attendance held a closed session to discuss what they viewed as unfair artist pricing and other issues, resulting in a decision to form a national organization to share information and to continue to cooperatively buy talent. Later in the years, this loose association of schools and talent agencies voted to formally organize a national entertainment conference, which chose its first executive director, David Phillips, who accepted the position as a volunteer. This newly formed NEC also established its offices at the University of South Carolina, Columbia, and published its first NEC newsletter, and established an annual budget of $10,000 with annual membership dues set at $50, and held its first Eastern Regional Conference in Hamburger, New York. In NACA, still they were the NEC, but they were off and running. While NEC held its first national summer workshop in 1969, the organization's educational efforts emerged in the 1970s and 80s. As the NEC changed its name to the National Entertainment and Campus Activities Association to reflect its broadening scope, it also began to develop policies such as codes of ethics for schools and associations, and initiated its first series with papers on student activities fees. During this period, the NEC newsletter evolved into a magazine format in 1974, which was renamed to the Student Activities Programming Magazine to reflect its shift of emphasis from organizational newsletter to a magazine offering articles focusing on the business campus and activities and student leadership development. In 1983, Student Activities Programming became more of a campus activities programming, and to this day remains one of the association's primary educational tools for students and professionals. We also, at the University of Akron, still continue to get this magazine on our campus and use it to educate our students and administration on how to choose activities and to process those within the block booking system. In 1982, however, the NECAA renamed itself to the National Association for College Activities, which is NACA, which is what I started to refer this paper to, what I referred this section to, and undertook one of the most significant educational endeavors, the creation of the NACA Educational Foundation. Efforts were underway to establish an undergraduate and graduate scholarship, expand working opportunities, and to encourage professional writing pertinent to the campus activities field with an annual prize paper competition. While educational efforts began to take off, the association did not leave business unattended. The organization's regional structure evolved during the 1970s and 80s and ultimately came to include 11 regions, each of which conduct business and offer programs and services within its geographic boundaries. In 1985, the first time school membership exceeded 1,000, the Regional Association Members category for talent agencies and artists was created. While the organization's regional structure offered many advantages to members, such as focusing block booking with specific areas, the association was inconsistent in its procedures and services offered by the regions. Ultimately, in 2002, after creating a regional structure study group, NACA made a concerted effort to better deliver programs and services to the regional structure and pared the existing 11 regions down to 7. We at the University of Akron are in the Midwest region for NACA. Throughout the period, regional conferences and the annual national convention continued to grow, expanding offers in educational sections, talent showcases, and time in the exhibit hall, later rebranded to the Campus Activities Marketplace, for schools and talent agencies to get down to business on which the organization was founded so that they could begin their block booking sessions. Efforts to facilitate block booking came to be known as cooperative buying and grew during these decades, specializing in co-op buying meetings where schools met to compare notes on who would book whom and from what cooperative block booking. They were common features of regional conferences and at the national convention. Additionally, the association published membership directories, included tour schedules, and artist performance reports in the Campus Activities Programming magazine to help schools and talent agencies share information to facilitate block booking. As student leadership development became increasingly important, a component of NACA's overall mission and policy to facilitate education and well-being of students began to be formulated. The association implemented its awareness of sensitivity statement, which is a commitment to the principles of which affirm the association's non-discrimination, affirmative action, equal opportunity, diversity statement, which underscored the association's commitment to multiculturalism. Alcohol and other substance abuse statements, which express NACA's commitment to protect college populations from negative effects of alcohol and other drugs, were also created. NACA's primary policy statement, which had been adapted through growing changes to meet the shifting members, has always been its mission. It now states that NACA advances campus activities in business and learning partnerships to provide opportunities for its schools. Established in 1960 to help increase higher education through creating an educational and professional members. NACA now has more than 1,000 colleges and university members and close to 650 associate members who represent artists, lecturers, and performers. Today, NACA offers a wide variety of events, educational institutions, publications, networking opportunities for colleges and universities across the country. The association program focuses on program planning, risk management, multicultural education, concert management, student and professional leadership and development, student government, and more. Through its website, NACA also provides students the professional staff with a number of online program and professional development tools. The University of Akron currently uses NACA in our student organizations such as ZIPS Programming Network, as well as in our Residence Life Programming Board. NACA has been an integral part of the university, and we actually won National Campus of the Year 2 years ago here at the University of Akron. In the mid-1990s, it became increasingly apparent that technology would play a crucial role in NACA and how they would conduct their business and how schools and associate members and volunteers would communicate with each other. And now that we are into a new millennium, it has proven to be the fact that the association has responded accordingly. NACA developed its first website in the mid-1990s, which featured a cartoon-style graphic representation of the campus community. It took users to various areas on information on resources. Since then, the website has been redesigned several times, not only to reflect changes in user ends, but equipment and software. It offers increasing resources as well as offers students a way to access the information through a password. The main information areas reflective of what NACA is about include education, entertainment, and volunteers. Throughout the process of adapting to technology, the association has continued to offer more and more variety of services through its website. It means that co-op buying has once again become known and available to schools and talent agencies only.